Each of us have been at this for more than 20 years, and we're tired. Tired of hearing people think that they have no hope, no future, and that they will simply sit in their cubicles and survive working in IT. Well, we're here to tell you right here, right now, that you can thrive in IT, and we are going to prove it.
Bringing you great stories
About great people in information technology.
that it turns out are just like you. Welcome to THRIVEcast.
Welcome to another episode of THRIVEcast. My name is DJ Eshelman, and you know what? 2020 coming to a close. Congratulations, we made it. Let's bring on my co-host, Jeff Fitch. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, and just like you, and I think everyone else across the world, looking forward to the end of 2020.
Awesome. Wow. Got that just
I
wrong.
shouldn't have stopped.
So today's episode is going to be a little bit different. What we're going to do is we're just going to bring anybody who wants to come on. And so I see we have Tobias already.
All right.
We'll bring him on in a second here, but just to explain how this is going to run, if you are interested in coming live with us during this segment to reflect and celebrate, hopefully, and do all the things like that, just let us know, either in the chat or whatever, and we'll get you a link to join us.
We are
so
monitoring all
available.
social media that we can, and we'll
Yeah.
go from there. There is one thing, though, I forgot to tell you, DJ, before we started. There is one thing I would like to do before we officially, truly get started with everybody.
Okay.
And no, I'm not pregnant. So just quash those rumors. So I think I've made it pretty clear. This year has been even more interesting for myself, my family. Being unemployed for the last 11 months now has not been fun.
Nope.
But there have been certain people that gone above and beyond. And I just wanted to thank a few of them. And I'm going to forget people. I know I am. Please take no offense. The first, unfortunately, DJ, is not you, but Ron Oglesby, friend, mentor of mine, has stood behind me this entire time, and well before as well. And he has helped out myself, my family, and for that, I am eternally grateful. And then DJ, you put up with my crap day in, day out, every day. It's been hard, and I, like I've mentioned in other episodes, when you've been unemployed this long, you don't have real income coming in. That can be rough, and emotionally, mentally, I've been with it. I've been not with it. But DJ, you've stood with me. So I do truly appreciate that. And I do believe that what we have going on here is an absolutely insane thing, but in a completely awesome way. A few other people, Jen Sheeran, sorry, I'm not going to take the whole time. I promise. This is like a Oscars
Why not?
speech, Am I going to hear the music coming in? Jen Sheeran, who reached out. I can't think of any real contact she and I had before I made the announcement. She immediately reached out and has been a huge help, just even supporting. But she has gone above and beyond, trying to help me get into a few places, things like that. Dennis Gundarov, Thomas Willingham from Microsoft, even Sandeep out there, Peter Wiglin, you guys have been great. But especially Dennis and Thomas have been on the lookout at positions things like that. And I'm just going to close up with the Unidesk crew, the SA group. We are still as tight as ever. And they have all been extraordinarily supportive as well. And I know I could spend probably an hour going through names and everything, but to everyone, thank you very much. I am very glad this year is coming to an end, and hopefully January sees things turn around just for myself and my family. That is it.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, gratitude is always super important. And, you know, I'm kind of in the same kind of boat when you realize just how many connections and stuff, but I'm going to save mine till later on in the episode, because I know we have one of the friends of our show, Tobias Kreidel, right here in the wings. So Tobias, wave at me if you're ready to come on. All right, let's bring him on.
Hi, DJ. Hi, Jeff.
Greetings. You're a little.
Always good to touch bases with good old friends. It's
I can like
a very interesting time.
Yeah, your audio is a little soft there. We'll see if we can.
Let me see.
Ooh,
to adjust
no.
this somehow. Is this any better?
I'm going to have to put the speakers up against my ears.
I don't know if there's a.
You got the right mic selected, Tobias?
I think so. Hang
Right on.
Let me see if I can.
Did you turn down his audio input, DJ? Come on, that's not nice.
I was gonna say, is that a thing I can do?
I don't know.
Fascinating.
Is this any better? No.
Not yet, but
No.
Okay. I'm working on it.
all right.
Go ahead and prattle some more while I'm trying to fix the technical issues here. Okay.
So this is what happens when you retire from IT, people. You forget how.
You assume everything is going to work, right?
See, I can't hear anything, so you could be, Jeff, you're a D, or
It says it's on.
Yeah, I hear him. I hear him a little bit.
It's just
I hear like a mouse. I mean, it's like but then again, my hearing is like crap anyway. So,
well, that can't
as my wife and kids love to remind me.
Trying to think if there's any settings on the other side on the web portal thing there that'll be helpful at all. But yeah, it's all good. Meanwhile, let's get into the Christmas, the holiday spirit here.
Hey,
That goes right over.
now Tobias is eating candy canes. I like it. Oh, hey, there we go. You're like the life of the party. You've got the lampshade on your head, except it's like a wreath or snow or something, part of a tree.
Earphones.
Oh. All right, let's see how we're doing. Looks like a bit of quality, network connection quality on my end, so I apologize. Gigabit is not enough, apparently.
That's
It's
pretty sad, actually. If it wasn't,
funny, hasn't it? Like
Testing.
you throw everything at it, and you just always assume it's on your end, but it's not always on your end. It's
yeah.
weird. But,
well, and that's just it. Sometimes it's so hard to tell, but on the same token, we all know the problem is DNS in some way. That's just the bottom line.
I mean, I blame the database.
No, DNS
is, but or
99,999 times out of 100,000, it's DNS. Come on. I'm gonna speak a little on the geeky side. It's interesting. A friend of mine, Matt Allen, actually one of the Unidesk essays, sent me a link or mentioned to me that there was a vote taken from Star Wars fans, and that Darth Vader was by far the #1 villain of all of Star Wars. And at first I was like, well, duh. I mean, is there anyone that even compares? But then I started thinking about that. Is it, we're talking villains or bad guys? Because really there's a difference. Stormtroopers are bad guys. Darth Vader, Palpatine are villains.
Got it all the way up.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's almost like the mic is
Got it on 100%.
Huh.
and it's set correctly in the settings for restream, Tobias. Underneath the broadcast window, you'll see the sprocket.
Not seeing any sprockets.
Sprockets.
No sprocket.
Oh, God, Dieter, welcome to Sprockets.
No sprockets.
But I guess my point was in Star Wars, I mean, across the whole thing, there aren't that many villains, lots of bad guys. But in the end, I mean, there are very few what I would consider actual villains in those in across the movies. The Emperor, Darth Vader.
No, I don't know. I don't know about Darth Vader. The motivations are not at least if you consider that the episode 3 exists. I have to recognize that now.
Do we have to?
Well, I guess
no, they're better than the sequels. So okay.
Yeah.
But through the original trilogy, he was the main villain. He was the one that was plotting and running machinations against the rebellion, all that stuff. So I mean, I do consider a villain. When you blow up a plant, I guess that was Tarkin, really, but
yeah, I was gonna say that Tarkin would be the other one that I would call a villain. Hang on just a second. Tobias, I want to try something here. I'm gonna
I've tried
take you off the stream and put you back in. Let's see if that does anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oof,
exactly
no.
the same. Maybe try going off and then back in, and we'll see if that helps us at all.
And try closing all your browsers. Don't leave it open. Close. Seriously, I've had problems, and you have to shut down every browser window and cut back in, and things work. So
it's all good.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. There's not really a whole lot of true villains to choose from.
I don't like ever being in a position of defending bad guys or whatever. I don't like that. Because bad is bad, right? It doesn't matter if your intentions are good, bad is bad.
Right.
It's the whole what was that movie? When I say The Negotiator or something like that, it was like, okay, so you're doing crime because you're kind of at your wit's end. Does that make the crime okay? No.
Oh,
it doesn't,
Well, yeah. I don't know the movie. But I mean that scenario, right? Does the end justify the means?
People hostage to try and get some help for his daughter or something like that. And so it's one of those interesting premises that always seem to come up in movies and the moral dilemmas and whatnot. So let's try that.
3.
Oh,
2, 3.
Still not hearing them.
Still not. In the age of Zoom, we can't.
Okay, hang on. How about now?
Esther says that basically crime is not context aware.
No, it is not. That's a good point.
Exactly. Yeah, crime is just crime. Also, Esther, what time is it there?
I was gonna say.
Goodness gracious.
2, 3.
I don't know. You're awake. I would have sent you a link as well. I can do that.
Oh, we can send her one now.
Yeah.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Let's see. Actually, Jeff, can you take care of that?
Yeah.
Sending her a link just if she wants to join us.
Yep.
Awesome. Got too much open at once here. Trying to run too many things. And if there's anything I can do for the audio here, if there's anything I can click on. This for those that are kind of tuning in here. This is like new type of software that we're using here, and so nothing about this is perfect in any stretch. So it's all web based. So not perfect. No, I got nothing on my end that can really adjust anybody else's audio, it turns out. Unless
Esther, I sent an email to both of your accounts that I have because I wasn't sure which one to use. So you should have the link there.
I just clicked on something. Tobias, say something and see if that's any better.
Not
really.
I tried a whole different browser and all the different device settings.
What?
That's it. We're hearing you.
What happened?
I don't know.
That's very strange. I didn't.
Did you reboot?
Anything.
Is that what it was?
No. Honestly, I did not. Wow, that's amazing.
Don't you love technology, computers, man?
You know, over the many decades, honestly, there have been times when I have no idea what I actually did to fix something. And I'm sure everyone else has experienced that as well. And there's no way to document it. There's no way to justify it. I mean, it's like magic. I mean, it really is.
I always say when that happens, like, hey, Jeff, can you come over and look at this? I'll go, all right, I'll wave my magic wand, and it just starts to work as soon as I walk over. So,
yes, maybe. Oh, you know what? It's Esther. Esther did it.
That's it.
Esther.
Of course.
You reeled in the good luck. Thank you. How are you doing?
She hacked your system, is what it was.
I'm doing fine. Thank
Good to
you.
see-
How are
to
you
see
doing,
you.
Tobias?
I am doing fine. Thank you.
I'm just hijacking the chat.
Better than most, honestly. I mean, seriously, when I contemplated a few years ago, and my wife always kids me about this, you know, she said, okay, originally it's like, oh, you're never ever going to retire. You're just going to keep working until you drop. And then a few years ago, it was, well, you know, maybe around age 70 or so might be a good time. And then for various reasons, late last year, I mean, almost exactly a year ago, in fact, my last day of work was December 31st of last year. And so tomorrow will be my 1 year retirement anniversary.
Yeah, you surprised us all, Tobias, with that announcement.
Yeah. Well, the timing was right, and honestly, given the whole situation that cropped up already fairly early in 2020, it turned out almost to be a blessing in disguise, because I think so many institutions and individuals obviously absolutely could not anticipate what the impact of this pandemic was going to be. And I feel, you know, extremely blessed that I could sort of bow out of the mainstream here and, you know, not have to worry about staying in the workforce and dealing with, you know, all the horrible things that have happened in terms of layoffs and cutbacks and so forth. And, you know, perhaps in some small way by doing so, perhaps, you know, have opened up the door for, you know, some other individual to step in and carry the baton forward. And, you know, this is what historically older folks do. You know, they put in their time and they try and do a certain amount of mentoring, and they you know, attempt at least to impact some of the wisdom that they at least think that they have picked up over the years, and attempt to impart that you know, onto the younger folks who are taking the reins and moving forwards. And you know, for whatever reason, the timing turned out to be what it is. And in many ways, I'm really grateful that all worked out. And, being able to still maintain some degree of contact, with the IT community and all you folks is really great, because it is hard, making a sudden transition. And it does involve a certain amount of planning and preparing yourself for some pretty major life changes. But hey, I've made it through a year, so I
Well,
guess
that's awesome.
okay.
Yeah.
And this is
Can't hear you, Jeff.
Hey, there we go. Let me try that. If I unmute myself, you timed it very well. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of work. Well, but like you guys, if I remember right, it was ASU, right? That's where you were at.
NAU, Northern Arizona University.
Yeah.
NAU.
I mean, you guys were pretty far ahead, right? I mean, in remote learning and things like that. So.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, really, honestly, the year or so before I retired, a lot of the time was spent setting up RDS and ZenApp, and really, preparing and pushing ahead to allow our students to have a more ubiquitous, uniform computing experience coming from wherever. And after I left, really, honestly, primarily all they had to do was just ramp a few things up, because the whole infrastructure was already in place and functional, and it became really purely just a matter of scaling.
Yeah.
Sorry, trying to get headphones so I can block the echo that I'm being told is happening.
I was just distracted by the romantic mood that DJ is trying to create with all the backlights. or maybe it's just because it's a little past my bedtime that I'm getting mixed signals here, DJ.
Do I have a candle? Yeah, I can have a candle here and
now DJ's mic is out.
pour a beverage.
Cigarette lighter.
But I think preparedness is something that
DJ,
yes.
I'm having a hard time hearing. Are you guys, DJ?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm around.
Good.
Yeah, he just transitioned to the more mellow, smooth talk.
Yeah, it's time for smooth jazz with DJ.
Regarding you folks, I mean, you're the ones who are still in the fray, so to say. What plans or ideas do you have about tackling 2021, if that is maybe the proper way of posing the question? I'd like to hear some of your opinions.
Yeah, for me, I think my opinion of 2021 is pretty much the same as 2020. I went into the year thinking this is going to be a year I take bigger risks and try and do a lot of things that I've kind of preparing for. And so, like in terms of like revenue and things like that, or earnings, I knew that 2020 was going to be a year of earning a lot less. And so it kind of progressed by design. I knew I was going to be doing less consulting work and more trying to get the books and things like that going. So for me, it's your level of preparedness, and that was kind of something I was prepped for. So in a way, I was already prepared for not being on a plane every other week and all those kind of things. So I'm kind of blessed, I guess you could say, in that regards. That
when did this realization hit, DJ? I mean, was it like February or March, or roughly when during the year?
I would say it was about this time last year that I set a goal to just be taking a risk this year, and I set it as a goal. I had some other goals that were for the year that I had to pivot on. Initially, there were some things as far as like, other development stuff that I said, you know what, that's not going to be a good idea. You know, it's too much. And I'm glad, because it turns out that doing things like publishing books is really tiring. I got to do that 2 weeks ago, and I was like, okay, let's go do these things. And I just felt this immediate fatigue. I'm like, I need a break. So yeah, it's one of those things where what I was prepared for, you know, was not 100%, but it was something I could pivot really easily into. And so it's that kind of orientation, I guess, towards that, but also not putting all your eggs in one basket. It's something I'm going to be talking a lot about next year, is, you know, how to get a little bit more diversity in your income and things like that. So you're not, so dependent. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, as I think I mentioned this during my one interview as of late, that you know, when one is young, you know, you don't really think that much about the future, but that is the time to start really figuring out how to deal with your financial future, because it creeps up on you way quicker than you imagine. And if you wait too long, it's obviously way too late to do much about it. And, you know, having that foresight of trying to figure out, well, you know, how am I going to plan, you know, not for 5 years or 10 years, but for, you know, 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years ahead. And it's, you know, it's hard to do. I think a lot of people deliberately don't want to think about that so much, because, you know, it always brings up the, you know, the topic of mortality and all of this.
Oh yeah, right.
But for one's own sake and the sake of, you know, one's immediate family, it's really a question of responsibility ultimately.
That's a good point. Yeah. Esther, how about you?
How about me? What?
Planning for the year, for the decade.
The big lesson that I learned this year is that I'm terrible at time management. So I, at first, with the whole social distancing, working from home, I was very happy with the whole new, I get to be in my own little bubble. Nobody is standing at my desk asking questions. If I really want, I can ignore the phone calls and just be in the zone. And then I learned that I can very easily be in the zone and completely forget everything around me, including time and bio breaks and stuff like that, and just taking care of myself. So I'm still kind of struggling to find a good balance between being fully committed to be the best at what I do best from a work perspective, and to also be fully committed to be the best caretaker of my own person and my own personal growth and my own personal needs, including planning for a healthier lifestyle, more sports, getting up out of my chair and just walk around a little, or just relax and find different things to do, and to not do the 8 hours for work, then have a quick dinner and get back for 3 more hours community fun, because that's still like a full day behind the desk. So that's one of the goals that I set for 2021, is to at least become more aware of the time management challenges that I have, and to take better care of my own personal health, simply put.
Well, you know, I think one of the hardest things, Esther, is I would map out, a week ahead, the next day, projects, projected timelines, and, even made use of Gantt charts and things like this. But I think the biggest challenge, at least in the area of IT that I was in, is that you would come in the morning expecting to follow your prescribed plan. And inevitably, almost like clockwork, pretty much every single day, something happened that
Correct.
completely upset the apple cart. And so you would have to entirely rework your day's schedule in order to deal with, putting out fires and dealing with other unexpected events, be it a meeting or something breaks or somebody comes and reprioritizes a task. And the real challenge, I think, was to anticipate to some degree that there was going to be a certain degree of disruption and calculate that in the future project planning, because if you don't, there's absolutely no way that you're ever going to get close to meeting your goals and your deadlines. And becoming a realist in that area, I think, is the saving grace. But to your point, I think everyone needs to hard code a certain amount of time that you just take yourself offline and do other things, be it read a book or play music or listen to music or go for a walk or, go engage in some kind of other extracurricular activity, because otherwise your sanity is just not going to last very long.
Yeah, for me, it already started with simple things like not picking up the phone anymore if it's like 5 minutes before 5 o'clock when normally the day ends and I had planned my spinning lesson or exercises. And then I just go, oh, it's just 5 to 5. I'll just pick up this phone, just have a quick chat. And then by the time you hang up, it's like 6 p.m. and you're going like, oh, yeah, I should now prepare dinner, which is just behind that door. So there's no way I'm going to do the spinning exercises anymore. And then it becomes this, I'll do that tomorrow. And then tomorrow becomes next week. And then before I know, I'm stuck again in this, unhealthy habit, so to speak. And I'm probably not the only one, but still it just sometimes is hard to also take care of, especially if you're in your personal bubble, to also take care of the social needs that you have.
And this, I think, is the real challenge of the whole work and home thing. Earlier on, when I was quite a bit more physically active, my way of getting that built in was to go to the gym, because I knew if I physically took myself to the gym, I automatically isolated myself from every other activity and I could focus and concentrate on that. And this is very difficult to do, I think, regardless whether you're in a work from home environment or in the office, because your ability to be interrupted by others is so enormously high, and it happens all the time, and there's not an awful lot you can do about it, unless you go hide in a basement somewhere with all the lights out and your little laptop. And that, I think, is very, very difficult, and takes, especially going back to the working from home environment, takes an inordinate amount of discipline, I think, to be able to do that. And one of the possible things is to have, which I have and use, have started using much more regularly now, is a daily and a weekly and a monthly planner, and putting things in and then forcing oneself to adhere to it as closely as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for all, especially for all the people that just were not prepared for work from home, is striking that balance. Because I mean, I remember when I first started doing, working more from home, you have this idea, well, I'm at home, I have to put in 150% instead of 100% or whatever. I need to work harder to show that I'm working. And so you tend to get into that rhythm where, like Esther was saying, you're not necessarily taking care of yourself, your relationships, things like that, because you want to show that you're still, still doing the work and things are getting done. And that's hard to break. But now, for me at least, I can't even imagine not working from home anymore. I mean, it's nice to go into an office occasionally and, see people, talk to people. And I did travel quite a bit for my position. So I, always had that, but working from home gave me much more ability to go to the kids' school, go to sporting events for the kids, spend more time with them and do things that in an office, it's harder to get out of the office during the day or even early at times than it is to when you're at home. And I remember Ron Oglesby telling me, when we were talking, when I first started Unidesk, he was like, I don't care what you do. I don't care when you do it. You get your stuff done on time. You show up to the meetings you're supposed to. I don't care when you do the work, and that was kind of a, eye-opening, mind-opening thing going, yeah, who cares when I write a white paper? If it's during the day, if it's at night, if it's early AM. But that's, those are things that are hard to get used to because, people are used to going in 9 to 5, and then they have that split where they go home. So there's a very definitive split I think for a lot of people, I'm work, here's home. And it's hard to change that mentality.
Let me ask you this, Jeff.
Yeah.
Along that same line, would you agree that one's productivity is not a constant thing? I think during the day, at least I found that things ebb and flow maybe in 3-4 hour cycles. I mean, any good supervisor is going to realize that during the course of a day or a week that one's productivity absolutely is not going to remain at the same static level. I mean, there are going to be times when it's exceedingly good, in which case you can be extremely productive and come up with all kinds of great things. And there are going to be other times when maybe at best you can fill out your monthly expense reports or something that's a lot more mundane. And I think, like I said, a really good boss, I think, has the capability of understanding that and realizing that people's productivity is not going to run at a constant metered rate.
And you're absolutely right. And unfortunately, not every supervisor understands that concept. But those ebbs and flows, that happens whether you're in the office or working from home. Yeah, I think when you're working from home, you have more flexibility to really work through those ebbs and flows instead of trying to force yourself. Oh God, it's only 2 p.m. I got 3 more hours before I can leave.
I need to look productive.
Yes. The whole carry a clipboard so you look like you're doing something. And so, 'cause we've all been there. Everyone goes through that. And I remember doing, going through that stuff, and it's like, it's so hard because typically you can't just walk out of the building and go for a walk, unless it's lunch or something. It's hard to get away. And especially if you get frustrated, like you leave a meeting and, you thought, oh God, man, this person was an idiot. I can't deal with them. I got to go blow some steam off. In an office, you're trapped. They could come downstairs and carry on the conversation some more. At home, you can at least sit back, relax, enter your Zen state, and get back to work.
Well, for me, the escape room was the restroom, because there's not a lot of guys that want to follow you in the ladies' room.
I don't know. I've seen some women's restrooms with the couches and everything. I understand why those are there. Don't even start with me.
I still need to figure out why they are there. So no worries.
For a lot of it, it's for women that are pregnant. It's not comfortable. And yeah,
Oh, this was not the direction you want to steer the conversation to, DJ, or?
Hey, you know what?
I said in the description, we will go where the conversation takes us.
You never know when something's going to go to a toilet couch. You never know.
Okay, other than organization and time management, what other issues do folks have, or what other?
Let me show you guys something real quick here. I'm actually going to show you kind of what I do. Let's see if I can make this happen. So I'm going to maximize that, and I'm going to come over here and change to
Magic.
This guy. All right, so you should be seeing my full focus planner. This is what I use. I've got several of these. So every quarter I have a new one of these, and so what you do here is you just set your annual goals.
Oh wow!
So you just set, so that's what I'm going to be doing in the next few days, is setting up my goals for the next year, and then into detail on these, you just every single quarter you're reviewing where you're at with these goals, whether they are the kind of goals where it's a spiritual goal, some people have parental goal, intellectual, social, emotional, vocational, all these avocational, all these kind of whatever the goal is. So if it's like one of my goals is to get down to 165 pounds by April, for example, and so I would put that in here as one of my goals, and then list out, okay, what are my motivations, and how have those changed over the course of time, and then you're putting in the next steps for this and just kind of planning it out, and then rewarding yourself, obviously, and things like that. So do that for your goals. That way you've got it right here, and it's easy to come back to exactly where it is. In fact, in this system by Michael Hyatt, he has one of my favorite features right here is page numbers. You can remember stuff, but and then nailing it down into, if you need monthly calendars like I do, just to see how things are going to go at a high level. And then rolling quarters is not something I use right now, but it's something I might in the future. But then rituals are the other important thing. And this is kind of what we were talking about with getting yourself to do various things. And so every morning I have 2 hours blocked off for my morning ritual, which is basically you get up, start the day with some gratitude, meditation, that sort of thing. And so I have these kind of written out and how much time I allot for them, that sort of thing. Same thing with a startup ritual for the workday, how I shut that down when I'm done with the workday, what are my evening tasks and rituals, that sort of thing. And so just keeping a regular pattern makes it more successful. Ideal week is a cool thing that Michael Hyatt has, and I won't go into it. But anyway, the day-to-day stuff is the big part here. So every day you list out, like Tobias was saying, 3 big things. What are my big 3 of today? I don't care about anything else except for these things. And if I have any time that's in the margins between the things I have to do, these would be the things that I come back to. And so on days that I just have a lot going on, you can schedule that out right here, by the way. It's kind of cool, but I just write the 3 things down that I have to get, that I really want to get done, that feed into my weekly big 3 goals.
That makes sense. So basically this is also to make it more visible and you more to make you more conscious of even reaching the minor goals that you set on a daily basis.
The other thing here is that you're checking things off as you go, or making adjustments. So he has a little thing of symbols here that I think is pretty useful, where you're just checking things off, you're signaling that you need to wait for it, or you're delegating, like put the circle whenever I'm telling Jeff to do something instead of me doing it,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All
so things
three
like that,
are
like deferring
delegate
tasks
to Jeff, delegate to Jeff.
Yeah, delegate to Jeff, delegate to Jeff, delegate to. But a space to take notes is really important too.
Yep.
Because as your day's going by, just to note things or get ideas, or just for me, it's just whatever's going on that day, I just write it down. That way, when it comes to the next day, I'm just coming back and saying, okay, how does this reflect upon my weekly goals? What did I do well yesterday? What do I need to, keep or adjust? And then that sort of thing. So basically what happens is at the end of the week, you do it's called a preview, where you're just saying, okay, I'm going to list out my biggest wins of the week, all the things that I did that worked. I'm going to review my goals for the week, the kind of the big 3 or 4 things that I wanted to accomplish the week. How far did I get on those? Be honest and say, what worked, what didn't, what are you going to keep? And then set, kind of a weekly overview for yourself, themes of personal and professional goals. And then you come in and kind of set your week up and set a big 3 for the week. So like, here's the 3 things I care about most this week, or the things I want to accomplish, or whatever it is. Here's what I care about this week. So if it's, in the bigger grand scheme of things, like, my goal is to lose 2 pounds throughout the week. And so I put that as part of my big 3 here. And that's something that I'm always focused in on. It's like, okay, throughout my day, what am I doing to make sure I get that done? That sort of thing. And so, yeah, and then you just start the week and do the same thing over again.
Well, here's a good question for you, DJ.
Sure.
To proceed like this, you have to develop the mentality and the discipline to look at that book every single day, multiple times. How difficult did you find going from a more haphazard, chaotic kind of scheduling to finding the discipline of that, actually making it a point to adhere to this methodology?
Well, the big thing for me was having it written down and just being able to hold it in my hand and taking this thing with me everywhere I went. And that's probably the biggest part of it. And if you look at some of the early ones I have, and even this last quarter, I mean, you'll find that I have days that, here's one right here. Well, this is a Saturday, so that might not count. But you'll have days that I just didn't write anything down. So you'll have those. But then you have other days that it's like, okay, I got lots of stuff going on. But it was just kind of giving myself a little bit of grace and just getting connected with what's working about it.
I find it really interesting because, call me old-fashioned if you will, but there's something to me very much more of something that I can relate to when I have a physical paper copy of something. It's not like I have to think, I have to go online, I have to open up a browser or an application and so forth. Having it visually always there, or as you said, carrying it with you around, I think helps significantly to reinforce that commitment to keep up with it, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And then actually the other thing that's at there's notes and stuff at the back of this, but there's also index, which is the other thing. So if you can key ideas or key meetings and things like that, you can just have in your index and then you can come back to it. And I'm finding that's way quicker than, okay, where did I put that one note? It's like, what did I put that under? Or what do I need to search for to find it, and that sort of thing. And it's just like, it's actually becoming more effective for me. And just
right. And I think your other point about taking notes is absolutely invaluable, because I will find that, after a week or so, once I was in a meeting that somebody had said something that I thought was important, but I couldn't recall it offhand. But if I went back to my notes and I did a good job taking notes, I can reconstruct some of these things. I mean, not so much from the viewpoint of, having an alibi, but rather as a memory, jogger. You never
What
know.
what were you doing over there?
Having that context of what happened in a day too, that's
Mhm.
we think our mind works like a dictionary. And our mind doesn't work like a
Does not.
dictionary. We're more likely to remember something when we smell something that was nearby than we are anything else. So having a context of what that day was like dramatically increases your memory of that day. And so having it all kind of out. Another thing I'm going to be trying is doing better journaling. That's another kind of goal for this year, is to have better journaling, and similar system there where you just like key page numbers and things like that help kind of bring everything together.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
And
George,
I think
George Cavilla was with us a couple of months ago, I guess, and he mentioned on his blog that he is trying a thing called a Remarkable, which is basically just an e-ink writer.
Mhm.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I'm somewhat curious about that. I think that might be something that I start playing around with to kind of bridge that gap between electronic and not. And he was saying that one of the things that he's liking about it is that there's no, like, if I have like a Microsoft Surface or an iPad or something like that, yeah, I can take notes with my pen, but I have to, sit there and open a bunch of apps and then find where I was and all that kind of stuff. And he's saying with this, you just turn it on and you're right where you were. I was like, oh, that is another feature about this that is a kind of a score one for the paper planner. It's like it's instant on. Mine just sits at my desk here. It's already right there. I don't have to switch context to figure out, okay, what, how to launch this app and where I'm at. It's right there.
I think there's something too with handwriting, like actually writing things down helps you remember it better. It's another way, because I mean, I can type left and right, whatever words per minute, but doesn't mean I'm focusing on what I'm typing though. But for me, at least, my handwriting is so horribly bad that I have to pay attention to what I'm writing, mainly because I need to be able to read it later. Otherwise it does me no good. But that's one of the techniques we've used with our kids and as they're going through school and learn, spelling, spelling tests and things like that is, I can just type it in and say, oh, no. My wife and I were very insistent. You can type them, but you're also going to have to write them down and, actual pen and paper. And, it helps commit those things to memory better than just, reading a paper or typing or whatever. It's just multiple inputs.
Plus you avoid the dreaded auto complete.
Yeah, autocorrect. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And autocorrect as well. Yeah.
So Jen, Jen says she's used Rocketbook. So I've sent her a link. I want her to talk about. That's another thing I was looking at too. Jeff, our colleague Steve, was talking about Rocketbook as well in our Slack.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So I'm actually curious about that too. My only main concern with that one was that you're having to erase what you have and then you're just putting it into an app or something like that. But I've been wondering if that's still just as practical. So I'm kind of curious now.
Mm-hmm. So. You mentioned, Jeff, reinforcing things by writing, and I'm curious what works best, because I remember back in high school we had to memorize all these passages out of Julius Caesar and whatnot, and I had the hardest time doing that. I tried everything imaginable, and what finally worked for me is, on my good old cassette recorder, I spoke the words out and put on my earphones and would just keep playing it over and over and over and over again. And I think the same kind of thing, and you can certainly relate to this, DJ, when you're learning a new song. To me, the hardest part about learning a song is learning the lyrics. I mean, the tune is predictable, and it's, it's something that we're a lot more, I think, comfortable with picking up, because there's certain patterns that you see repeating, and by physically, playing it, that's what causes it to get ingrained into your, it becomes muscle memory. But remembering lyrics or things that were said at at a meeting or a speech or whatever, I think is a lot harder. And I would think that either hearing it over and over again, or again, back to your point, Jeff, writing it out, multiple times. I mean, it's kind of like, the old joke about, being sent to the chalkboard and in school saying, I will not, whatever,
Yep.
100 times, right? And that type of ingraining something into your memory, I think, definitely works better through that kind of reinforcement.
Yeah,
and
it also differs for people. You have the types that are more visual focused, and you also have types that are more audible focused. So for you, Tobias, it could be a better instrument to dictate to yourself and to listen to it and learn that way, while Jeff is more the kind that has the visual confirmation through writing things down and to actually have that as his preferred system for learning.
Well, it's not so much the system for me. I guess what I was getting, because like I've got my own way of just totally forgetting everything that comes into my head. So, but for the kids, and we were talking when, going up through elementary, where you don't know quite yet, how they learn, what the best study is for them, having them go through multiple ways, we'd have them spell it out loud, write it down on paper, and we even had those, what's that banana game with all the letters? And, we had the whole chips and they'd play them out and we'd say, okay,
bananagrams or whatever.
Bananagrams. Yeah. We'd, and they would pick the letters out and spell the words. So, it was just from that perspective of, because you're right. Esther's very right. Not everything, we don't all learn the same way. Yeah. But if you're not sure, the best way to do is to try multiple things at, maybe at the same time or one after, whatever the case may be, but you have to find your best ways of learning.
So did you guys ever know why, back in the day when you used to have to put in the actual codes for like Microsoft to activate Windows and that sort of thing? Did you ever know the science behind why they're spaced the way they are? I always thought it was mathematics.
I think it's because you memorize things in certain groups.
You can only remember
if you have a huge long string, it's much, much harder. And this is why with telephone numbers, you typically have groups of 3s and 4s.
If I remember right, for telephone numbers, I do remember this from school. Like the human brain is like optimal at remembering a sequence at like 7 digits or something, or maybe it was 10, but and that's why, like in the US, at least, phone numbers outside of area, taking away the area code is 7 digits.
Yeah. So I'm curious, that this is all making me think about like how I learned my ABCs, because it's the same kind of thing. If you just say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you naturally stop at G. It's just naturally how you are. And so there's always a song and it follows the same cadence. It's kind of amazing when you think about it.
Oh yeah. And going back to what we talked about, music and lyrics, having that combination works really well. And of course, the same that can be said about poetry. And one of the reasons, rhyming was used so frequently is because it becomes sort of a natural thing that you can anticipate, because something is coming at some line that rhymes with one of the earlier lines, and that definitely makes it a lot easier, I think.
Yeah. I'm
So
curious.
there's a part of a song that I have remembered since the 80s from Cheers. If you guys, I don't know
See,
if
this is what I was gonna go. Yep.
yeah, Cheers
Mhm.
and Coach, and well, Coach and Sam were
Trying to learn geography.
yeah, but it was like for a class and stuff. And the Albania song,
Yep.
I just remember that Albania.
I was like,
It
trying to bring
borders
up-
on the Adriatic.
Yep. But it made me think. So Esther, English is not first language, but you had to learn the alphabet. Yes.
Yes.
Did you have to learn the song, or did you learn it a different way?
I just learned the alphabet.
Well,
I
it's
have
almost the
no
same.
idea if there's a song or not, but
Well, it's
maybe
almost-
that's because they wanted to.
Mhm.
And this is walking on thin ice. They probably wanted to educate us in UK English back in high school, and not in American.
Shocking.
Uh,
Shocking, I say.
But basically, I got my English education from all the 80s TV shows,
Nice.
which were American TV shows. So that's why I never claim to talk English, but I do claim to talk American because I grew up with Miami Vice and Beverly Hills 90210. And
Oh, I'm so sorry about that one.
I thought you were going to start with the A Team.
well, the 80. Oh, that's a whole different ball game, because the A Team actually came to the Netherlands, and I was actually at the field where they were dropped with a helicopter, or they landed with a helicopter at the field, and it was like huge crowd. And I think I was like 10 or 12, but I saw the A Team live. So yeah, those are like my
Wow.
childhood heroes. So
Very
not a
nice.
bad word about B.A. Baracus.
Oh, everything I need to know about the English language I learned from Michael Knight.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Well, I think for me it even went back to Sky, that had all the cartoons like Master of the Universe and She-Ra and Mask and Transformers. So yeah,
You're getting me right in the heart, man. I love it. I love it.
and that probably ages me a lot, but
Oh, it ages me too. But I tell you, the Saturday before America got all cartoons are gonna corrupt our kids. Those are classic stuff. Those are great things.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
the
and
violence.
for me it always showed
Tom
on
and
Saturday.
Jerry and
Yeah.
Well,
And then
but you know what
on
the funny
Sunday
thing
we had
is?
the reruns. So I was still that kid that would be up at like 7 a.m, starting with the cartoons till noon. And then on Sunday, knowing that they were reruns from the previous day, I would still be up at 7,
Oh yeah.
sitting there till noon until the show was over.
But you know what the funny thing is about that whole cartoon is going to turn you into a violent person, blah, blah, blah. We got to Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry. We got to clean them all up. The people that were claiming those things were the people that grew up on Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry. So what is it they're trying to tell us? That they're violent people? That, I mean, is there a hidden meaning behind that whole thing? That's what I always found ironic, is that the same people that grew up on these cartoons, and I'm not talking about the 80s, I'm talking about like the original Bugs Bunnies,
The Looney Tunes.
Tom and Jerry's, Woody Woodpeckers, Popeye.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
The people that were condemning those things were the people that grew up on it.
Mhm.
And it's like, so do you not see the irony in what's happening here? I don't know. It was crazy.
I think what it is, you know, as a kid or a teenager or whatever, you know, you go through these phases of doing all kinds of crazy, sometimes really stupid stuff. And then as a parent, you look back and you think, oh my gosh, I absolutely never, ever want my kid to do anything like I did in my youth. And so there's this natural degree of trying to be protective, I think, that somehow kicks in. That's the only explanation I can.
Well, unfortunately, I missed that phase because I'm still trying to grow up. I'm still making those mistakes.
Well, but the point is that you're not trying to impose what you think is right for somebody else based on your experience. I think that's what the key factor is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's say hi to Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
MVP award on the back wall there. That's so nice.
You can hear me okay. I had to commandeer my setup here from my son who borrowed it.
That's right. Priorities.
Was he playing Fortnite?
No. He's built a recording studio.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see something out of him one day.
Oh, man. Kids can't live with them. Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. So I think I missed the Rocketbook, the conversation because I took so long to get here.
No, we're going to bring it back around to Rocketbook because we wanted
talking paper planners and kind of productivity in general, just kind of how we're going to structure things in 2021 and how to
help me with time management. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I use the Rocketbook. I've been using the Rocketbook since the first edition. And you can scan it from the app, and you can set up various options. So you can have it go to your Google Drive, you can have it email to you, various locations, Dropbox, Box.com, whatever source that your cloud source you're using, or like I said, email as well. And that way you have it saved, whatever you wrote, right? So it's an easy analog digital transfer.
And you can use like different colors and things like that.
Oh, right? Absolutely.
So that's kind of one of the things that I was thinking as I've
and different templates.
So I have some pens here. I just actually bought. So these are just regular gel pens. Pilot Flex pens. Easily accessible, and you use them, you write, and then you just wipe them off, right? I like it because, it saves paper, right? You don't have to use the paper. It's reusable. I think all the kids should be using this in their backpack instead of carrying that 20 tons of paper.
and that's one of those areas that I've been kind of thinking about too, is like, as much as I love this planner and it's really good and there's something to that experience, I've been,
trying to save trees. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
and I guess this the app allows you to archive because you have multiple pages that you can use at the same time, Jen.
Yes.
And then the app basically allows you to archive, so you could use it like a weekly scheduler.
There is one that actually has a planner, I believe, that has it organized like you were showing, DJ, with the calendar type that you can erase and you reuse. Yeah. And there's the little notebook too, like a small one, that you could keep in your pocket. I know some people, they like to have one always with them so they can write the little notes down. So it's a tiny one. And then there's like a notebook size one, and then a 8.5 by 11 size as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website, and the Fusion is the one where you can open it up and have the calendar. He's got old-fashioned paper. He thinks he's cool.
I'm looking for mine. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go find mine. One second.
Yeah, you should show us.
That's actually pretty cool, though. They do have like the little flip book and everything. It's like, that is actually
Wow.
pretty darn cool.
I found it. All right. So this is a small one, right?
Okay.
Not the little tiny one. So it's very thin, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
And this one is just lined regular, right? So the pages, there's that QR code at the bottom that you can scan in.
Okay.
So let's see what funky notes I have. Okay, everyone's gonna laugh at me in my drawing right now. So these were some of my notes for some things I'm doing, right? And I was able to just transfer that and email it to myself, because I'm going to take that and put it in, different things to create. It helps me through the process of when I'm preparing like a presentation or researching a project, that I make notes, visual notes, and then I can use that in long term. So I use mine also for meetings if I'm making notes. Right. And they can easily be transferred into any app. So Word, OneNote, whatever you choose.
And I think that's one of the good things about, that's one of the good things about like the Rocket Book and the others like that, better than a tablet, because with a tablet, like I've got an iPad Pro, I've got a cover and a keyboard. So it's essentially a mini laptop or whatever. If I'm typing notes, I could be surfing the web. You can't see what they're doing. Now I've got the pen and everything. I can take it off and start writing. And that's typically what I do if I'm taking notes on the iPad, so they don't think that I'm doing something else. But that's the advantage of those types of devices, is that there's nothing else you're going to be doing with it. You're going to be, taking notes and doing stuff like that. And your customer or client doesn't have to worry about, are they even paying attention?
Right. Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's something, one of the ideas I had and kind of thinking about is, being able to just like draw a diagram or whatever. It's like, okay, and then you send this to like an assistant to have them put it up into a presentation while you're continuing your meeting, that sort of thing. And being kind of that next level, it's just like it kind of makes something like that potentially possible.
Who is it? I think they're out of the UK that does the VMUG notes, VMware, and they always post.
Barry Combs?
Yes. Yeah. What does he use? Because that's slick. One, he's got great handwriting, can make great designs and pictures. Not something I can do, but that's all. I've always been really impressed with what he does and how he does it. I don't know what he uses though.
I think he uses like a tablet or maybe like a Wacom tablet.
Oh, okay.
Like that. Yeah. But I'm not entirely sure. I just sat behind him and it felt like he was just using either like an iPad and zooming in and making notes and zooming out or something else.
Very
Maybe
well
we should
could be.
ask him. Yeah.
Why would we do that when we can just,
speculate about it and make assumptions?
Exactly.
Presumptions.
we could get as wild as we want.
Oh, Jeff, I thought you would never say that.
Oh.
Hang on.
So,
oh boy.
So Jen, I want to ask, so we've been kind of going around and talking about like goals for the next year and things you want to focus on, or maybe even just like things you're really happy about 2020. Where are you at? What kind of things do you want to focus on? What kind of things are you happy about 2020?
I'm happy about 2020. I have a lot to be grateful for. I'm not usually the type of person that will look at the negative. So there is plenty this year to be grateful for, especially for me on a personal level, on a professional level. I'm very happy. So 2020 was a good year, despite all the negative. And I'm looking forward to, I haven't, this week is sort of my week that I reflect and then set the goals.
Mhm.
I haven't really gotten to the point of setting the goals yet. That has been maybe tomorrow.
Put it in the planner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Here's your first
Do it.
goal. Make the goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. That's the
One
first
step at a
goal. You know, I'd really like to go back to the gym, you know, to what Tobias was saying earlier. I really miss that. So I've been working from home for a long time. And so the work from home was not new to me, but I had that opportunity to go to the gym and break up my day. And I'm not having that right now. And that's been really difficult. So I'm hopefully I'll be back at the gym. So that's a goal.
Yeah.
I went for a walk
That's
today
great.
though. So that was good.
Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
awesome.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, it was a little cold and snowy for walking outside today.
I was really disappointed I couldn't be outside more today. It was like 65 degrees. I'm like, oh,
Oh, wow.
I saw a baby
Well,
alligator.
More like 30
Nice.
here. Hi.
yeah.
Yeah. Wait, where? Yeah. Yeah, Michigan. Yeah, we finally got our first real snow. So,
Were those just practice snows?
well, but I mean, like we had a dusting earlier, right? Didn't even cover the grass, anything like that. Wasn't real snow. We've covered the grass. The roads were icy. Accidents everywhere
I'm a little
because
confused, Jeff.
Michiganders
Are you-
forget how to drive.
Are you saying it's like snow from CNN? Like it's fake snow? What is this here?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you need a shovel?
The snow plow actually came and did our driveway
Oh,
plow service. So yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, my driveway is way too long to be shoveling. I'm not doing that for that long. So
Right,
it's
so-
nice to live out in the country. I love
Another
it.
thing I'm kind of curious about, and I want to kind of go around and talk through if you guys have any New Year's Eve or New Year's Day rituals that you often do, or just habits, or kind of what is New Year's Day going to look like for you?
For me, it's just, I mean, typically it's a relaxing day. This year, it's, next year, I've had 11 months of relaxing. So no different than any other day.
Who else? I'm curious.
Black-eyed peas and some kind of sparkling wine. Prosecco has kind of been the go-to as of late. It's really, actually like it better than champagne. It's got a really wonderful. Oh, and I was going to tell Esther, before COVID really hit hard, I was down in Phoenix and we went to an Italian restaurant, and the gentleman there had made his own limoncello, which was just incredibly good, homemade, and we've known him for years and years. And so I said, hey, I've got this special batch that I've made up. It was so good. Made me think of you.
Nice.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that after eatery in Rome kind of linked me with limoncello as well. For some of the Dutch, it became the thing that they will never go back to. I just love to tease them with that because, yeah, you need to know your limit if you're drinking limoncello.
Oh, it is really strong. Really strong.
Well, and at some point, the sweetness becomes overwhelming. So, yeah, that's...
What about you, Esther?
You started with black-eyed peas, Tobias, and I swear you were going musically. The black-eyed peas.
Well, there is that too, of course.
No, sit back, listen to some black-eyed peas. Well,
can do that too. Yeah. Just I mean, it's just another orbit around the sun, as far as I'm concerned. But there is always that little bit of nostalgic component involved. The reminiscing, the looking back. What all transpired this past year, and I think I probably speak for most of us. It's sort of like, in many ways, a lot of it is very forgettable, or hopefully will be forgettable. But trying to stay optimistic, and chilling out and letting the Earth, complete another orbit around the sun.
Okay, I think we're going to have an argument here. Next, you're going to tell me the world is round. Come on, it's flat, and the sun circles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, hey,
I think he fell off the
if you
flat
don't
Earth.
believe in the Copernican system, that's your prerogative.
Look, and we all know that the flat Earth is situated on the backs of giant celestial elephants that are being carried by the giant turtle. So
it's not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a THRIVEcast if we don't offend somebody, right?
Good a model as
come on.
I love it.
We don't need to be so PC all the time.
PC. I don't know about that one.
Speaking of PC and speaking of adhering to calendars, it is time for me to head off and start working on dinner, which I'm looking very much forward to because I'm really hungry. I didn't eat that much during the day today, and it never even hit freezing today, so it's been really, really cold. And we got a little bit of snow the other day. It's very icy right now.
Oof.
And got to pack in those calories to stay warm. But I wanted to wish each and every one of you all the very best in 2021. It's always great to be able to talk to friends and shoot the breeze a little bit. And
this was fun. We have to do more.
Cheer each other up a little bit, which is always fun too, especially since we can't really meet very easily in person right now. Really, thank you so much for the invitation. Always a pleasure. And take good care of yourselves. Think about yourselves for a while. We worry about others all the time. And, I think to your point, Esther, sometimes we really need to think about what we can do for ourselves. It's not being selfish, it's being reasonable. And when we make ourselves better people, it makes other people better people.
Oh, thank you for that. I'll take that to heart.
Yes.
And I wish you a wonderful, exciting, adventurous 2021 too.
Well, hopefully things will open up so that at some point travel becomes more doable.
Yes.
And, so many places to go and see, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for the best. So thank you, wonderful Jen, Esther.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Jeff.
Happy New Year, Tobias. You are always welcome on. So
thank you so much. All right, till next time. All right.
Take care.
Thanks for dropping by.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Tobias said something about being, purposely selfish or whatever. That I heard a term Monday on somebody's podcast that I thought was absolutely brilliant about this. It's self-full, so it's being it's practicing self-fullness instead of selfishness, self-fullness.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant. Like focusing in on, you can't serve from an empty cup, and really making sure that you're taking care of yourself properly and making sure that you are prioritizing yourself so that you can serve at a higher level. I thought that was fantastic.
Well, and I think Jen, you've probably experienced this, and I know I do it quite a bit with my kids is I'll put them ahead of myself. And I know I do it way too much. But it's hard, it's hard to say no when they're asking you to do something or whatever, it's that I completely understand what they're saying. And I know I need to be doing more of that. My wife and I both. I mean, it's darn kids.
That explains why it's so hard for me to adjust. It's that inner child that keeps fighting with me.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said,
that kind of beginning with the end in mind, though. I love saying, you know what, if I take care of my own mental health and that's any physical health even, how much more am I going to be able to do with my kids? It gets really powerful when you really sit down and really prioritize it and think about it. And one of these days, I definitely want to get more into some of this kind of stuff, but
and for me, that was the big reason, like after my kid got through his chemo and was into remission, I went and lost 50 pounds. And then now I've gained quite a bit of it back because I stopped looking at it that way and doing, putting myself first when I needed to, it just, I lost track of that. So I'm in the same boat, DJ, as you, is I've started the program again and doing stuff and, hopefully soon, be dropping again. So, actually I have started dropping, but to get down and be able to consistently stay where I want to be. So
I'm actually pretty happy about this. So in the program I use is it's almost like cheating. It's actually pretty straightforward. I don't really do any extra exercise or anything like that. It's completely diet related. So it's pretty easy to do this in that regards, but I have dropped I would say 35 pounds per year overall. So I increased like a lot of us did. And then it's kind of funny. I actually increased a bit and then took a bunch of headshots that I'm using everywhere. And now I'm, dropping down in weight, so naturally that's the way that goes, right? Take pictures of yourself and you go, ooh,
yeah,
maybe it's time.
I look at my driver's license and I'm like, no, I don't want to look like that again. Nope.
Well, it's funny. We're talking about like Jen was saying about using this week for goals, which is totally what I'm all about this week too. And one of those things, I've got like a stack of notebooks I'm going to be taking downstairs probably tomorrow and Friday and going through and just kind of going, just scrubbing through all the things that I didn't do or want to do, or, all these kind of making sure I don't miss anything or kind of reflecting on things. But there's been just so many things that, I'm not sure how to describe how this feels really, but there's those sense of accomplishment kind of things. And then there's all these things that are like, yeah, I probably could have done that better, but do I care? It's connecting with that in a very real sense of saying, you know what, that didn't get done because that wasn't as important to me.
Well, I guess it's kind of like putting it in perspective.
Yeah.
So it could be very important at some point in time, but now when you look back at it, it maybe wasn't as important as it felt back then. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So we had a lot of changes, so you have to allow yourself, adjustments, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's funny. I looked at my Delta Sky Miles account. The amount of money I have in credit from flights that have been canceled this year, it was like, wow. Yeah. It's crazy stuff. Yeah. It was momentous change. And, that to me just reminds me just how much change there has been in just such a short time.
Yeah. So I'll tell you guys one of my other New Year's rituals, and this is kind of funny. For decades now, I've always taken New Year's Day whenever possible and made that a day to watch like movie marathons of some sort. And so almost 20 years now, I guess. One of those has been Lord of the Rings. And so,
Of course.
The extended?
of course.
Okay, good.
Is
Good
there
man.
another? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this year, one of my initial the goals for this year, the one thing that did get changed was that my plan was to take a sabbatical and go back to New Zealand for 3 months.
Wow.
And so, obviously that didn't happen for a host of reasons, but so I'm going to take the next 2 days as a
Only one reason.
well, no, there were multiples. Actually, I'm glad for one element of this is like I wasn't really ready to take a sabbatical yet. I do need to do it. Trust me, it needs to happen. There's a shift that needs to happen with me. That's trying to come out. That there's a break that needs to happen after 20 some odd years of nonstop doing this. But so tomorrow and Friday, like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve will be watching the Hobbit movies.
Oh,
And then
I'm sorry.
So basically, you're doing your virtual trip to New Zealand.
Yeah, I'm gonna look.
Were
through
you
some
signed up to
photos.
do like the tour and stuff?
We didn't actually do like Hobbiton or anything like that. We were only on the South Island, but we were at.
Well, but you said when you were going to go back, so I was wondering, were you were you planning on doing it? And yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be cool.
Absolutely, yeah. We loved it there so much. I mean, honestly, I told my wife sometime after we came home, and it just wasn't the same after that trip. And I told her that, what, I left my heart there. At some point I'm gonna have to either go get it back, or we're just gonna have to move there. Because it was just.
Or find a new one.
There was just
or a new
Kiwi
passion.
spirit that I really loved. It just
The same way with me in Ireland. I found, and this was years ago, found a house on a lake. It was just absolutely gorgeous. I have no idea. I have an approximate idea, thanks to Rory, about where that may be, but I've been trying to find it through Google satellite images, and I just can't quite track it down. Oh, well.
So I have a movie I like to watch too. It's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, yes. John Candy in that way. Yes.
Steve Martin.
classic.
That is a classic. Yeah. I am going to start reading Hitchhiker's Guide again, because I haven't read that this year. Yeah, I haven't read it this year, and so I got to read it again. I need that laugh. But the one thing, I don't know if you've read the book, but if you've listened to the radio series from the BBC, not just the ones they did like back, what was it, early 80s, 70s, but they continued it later on, and I've got like the full set, and that is absolutely brilliant, just as brilliant, and in some places better than the book. It's just great. And I found out that the TV series from the BBC is on Netflix now.
Yep.
And that
made me very happy. Yeah.
It's so British. It's so British for that time.
Yeah, just classic stuff.
Good times, good times.
Let's see, who did win? Esther, do we hear your New Year's?
No, I just basically let you skip past me. No, like I said, the time management definitely is a lesson learned.
I meant for your like New Year's Day, like any kind of
New Year's Day. Oh, that's probably I'm not sure how it's gonna work out this year, because we have a lot of extra lockdown regulations, so we're not allowed to fire off any fireworks. So normally I would just around midnight walk through our street and just wish all the neighbors a happy new year and have some fun conversations. And well, probably some whiskey Coke, something like that, because I can carry them around in cans. But now we're not allowed to carry any alcohol with us after 8 p.m. So I'm not sure. Maybe I can claim that after midnight it's at least before 8 p.m. But I'm not sure.
It's the next day. It's the next day.
So I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, normally I would just have some philosophical conversations with one of the guys in the neighborhood and listen to all kinds of cool golden oldies and just have some connection. So that will probably not happen this year. So I'm not sure yet. I might just spam Jen with all kinds of messages. See if I can help her with any resolutions that she still needs to figure out.
I love it.
Is that a promise or a warning? I'm not quite sure how that.
Well, I might be spamming you. Well, now technically you're in the future, so you'll spam me first. I'll wake up to the spam.
Yeah, so no, one of the cool things that 2020 gave me is to have almost weekly conversations with Jen to just talk about all the crazy stuff that we've been going through on a I'm not going to say therapeutic, but no, we had just some cool conversations. So ever since meeting up in Lisbon last year, last year, it's still 2020.
As much as we wish it wasn't.
It depends on your experiences. No, but so I found a really cool friend, and we shifted from just having these like long time friendship conversations at events to now having our virtual conversations and even watching The Mandalorian together, which was like an awesome experience.
Oh, yeah.
Because counting down to the right second to both start the show on Disney, and then still hear it getting out of sync every now and then. But no, so what I love is that the technology has allowed us to stay connected, and I did have this one moment a couple of weeks ago where I was fortunate to go to a recording studio and have like a live social interaction with other people, and I came home all hyped up because I talked to real people without a camera and a screen and lights and a headset. So amazing.
I'm so jealous.
Well, yeah, but on the other hand, it also made me very sad the next day that's just one occurrence this year, and the rest is at least from March on. Yeah. So yeah, I feel very fortunate that technology is at this age or stage or phase that we still can have our social interactions and still have those connections, even if it's through an internet connection or at least we get to see each other and just interact. So I still feel that 2020 made me realize that the social interactions and the friendships go beyond borders and technology. Right. And so yeah, I feel very fortunate.
Absolutely.
I agree.
So 2021 definitely is a promise to keep stalking you, Jen.
It's not stalking. I feel the same way. I'm very grateful. It's the top of the list.
It's
gratitude.
Mutual agreed stalking. Okay, right. I got a pass. I can stalk Jen.
I was looking every Friday, looking forward to our time. It was-
Yeah, so and I also feel very fortunate to just drop in on the call
Yes.
tonight. Well, for me, it is night.
Very much so. Yes.
It's got to be morning.
No,
Come
it's
on.
morning. It's
Yeah, I was
morning.
gonna say.
It's 2:41 a.m. So yeah, it's morning. I can start the day early. That's good.
It's a very unexpected treat, I gotta say.
Yes, so I feel very fortunate that I could crash the show and have these cool conversations, because I really enjoyed being on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. And well, I think Brian Madden also mentioned it in his podcast, that it's so cool to not just have these technology focused conversations, but to just have the social personal conversations with each other.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like sitting at the bar and doing the networking at the events that we've been missing out on this year.
Yeah, I second that. I crashed as well, so thank you for having me, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you guys.
You guys have been great guests. I mean, two of the best, and we love having you on.
Absolutely. I wanna
So
do
that
this more
means that
often.
we now have a pass to stalk them too, Jen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please do.
It only gets better.
So I guess in a month's time, we are going to have a new chat where we are with our resolutions and compare notes or
Love it.
notebooks.
Actually,
I could
that
do
sounds
that.
fantastic.
That sounds good. What's that? Couldn't hear. My headset's going.
Sorry, I'm just driving into a tunnel.
Breaking up.
What do you mean the camera's on? Oh, shit.
I love a whole new set of excuses. Oh, you're breaking up. My internet connection is going. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little hard to fake the
robot.
jumpiness. Yeah.
Or you could just pretend you froze, like
Yeah, right up until it's like your lights change in the background. There's always something that'll give it away.
Ain't no
like I was
fair.
saying.
How long is he going to keep there with his mouth open? It's, you
Wow.
start seeing the drool coming down.
Awesome. So I definitely am closing 2020 with a laugh and a very good feeling, and looking forward to 21.
Excellent.
Great.
So the way I see it, I mean, really, unless the meteor that was supposed to hits in 21, and I'm going to regret saying it, I don't think it can get too much worse at this point.
I'm not sure if you already want to make statements like that.
Tough.
And just
I voted
like
for
that.
I voted for Big Meteorite.
Yeah, in
I did
Michigan,
too.
probably.
I kept asking, like, hey, has anyone seen it? It was supposed to hit like a couple hours ago or something.
I want to recount.
Yeah.
I voted for Meteorite.
Oh, man.
But in all seriousness, though, I mean, I think there's a big part of this has been on my mind for the last few days, especially, and looking at this of saying, you know what, the more we focus on the negative, the more our lives will be negative. And if we're always looking around the corner for what's next, then we're going to find it. Because I live in Nashville and things just are weird every now and then. There's a lot of more questions than answers, but the thing I've been noticing about this is people's response to things that didn't really impact them at all. They are so in tune with how negative things are and how bad 2020 is, and just like everything that happens is like, see, it's so bad. And
Yeah,
Tony
it's like
Robbins has a great
self-fulfilling
saying.
prophecy. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like, self-fulfilling, but it's where energy goes. How does that saying go now?
Where your focus goes, your energy goes to, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Something
Yes.
like
where
that.
focus goes, the energy
Yeah.
goes, yeah. So if you're focused on the bad and focused on that, then your energy is spent. You know, you don't get that back. This is not just like a deposit you're putting down. It's spent. It's gone. And
Yep.
so if your energy is spent on focusing in on the positive, and okay, yeah, this stuff, it sucks, but what can I do about it? You know, what can I do to change a global pandemic? You know, I can do just the things that are here. You know, there's certain steps I can take, but I can't change everybody. You know, I can't force that. I have no power to do that. You know, so what do I have power over? Well, I can do things with my life. You know, that's what I can focus on. And so the more we do that, the more we are able to produce. And I think there's just going to be a distinction between those that are focused on things like that and those that are just going to roll, just kind of roll straight in 2021, just looking for that next thing. You know, it's like, oh, it's
Oh,
right
yeah.
around the corner. I know it's here.
Yep.
You know, and they're going to find it. Several million people are going to find it because that's what they're trained to do. It's so sad.
Well, I don't, you know, that's, yeah, the US especially, I think, is very much like that, you know, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And it gets hard, you know, when you have to deal with a lot of these people. Yeah, it's rough. And I think you're right. You know, they just are now expecting there's going to be something else. There's always going to be, and it's just going to keep getting worse. But you know, yeah, you're right. You can't look at it that way. You can't, you got to look. I mean, it would, you know, it'd be extraordinarily easy for me to give up, you know, after 11 months of looking for a job. And, you know, but, you know, I keep going back. It's going to get better. My philosophy has always been, no matter how bad things get, there's always the light at the end of the tunnel. Things always work out the way they're supposed to, you know, and it's just, yeah, I mean, it's going to turn itself around at some point. It just needs to get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always a question of like, what does this make possible? You know, like Esther was saying, like, we have all this technology. So we have a pandemic and all that kind of stuff. Well, what does that make possible? Well, would we be having this call right now if we hadn't had the pandemic? I hate to look at this in this kind of weird kind of way, but
well, no, but that's how life works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Us to
I mean,
be more intentional.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's evolution, right?
Mhm.
You adapt and change. The world is always changing. And, you know, us in IT, we've always done that, right? Think of all the changes we've seen.
Yeah.
This is just another step.
Although I do say that there are times where people in IT are the worst at handling change.
It's true.
Those are the admins. But
Yes.
that's
The IT
because
people.
they want to have a stable environment. So any
They do,
change
yeah.
is not welcomed at all.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
No serverless for them.
Have you guys ever heard that theory that how you introduce yourself is like the first thing you say is your actual definition of who you think you are? Like if I introduce myself as Mr. Eshelman, then I think I'm Mr. You know, if I introduce myself as Dr. DJ, I think I'm Dr. DJ. You know, I'm Doctor. You know, and so if we, yeah, kind of, however that looks as far as how you're kind of thinking of yourself and introducing yourself, that's a big indicator of your kind of, I guess, attitude or like orientation or how you want to be thought of. So yeah,
It's how you deliver a first impression.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're an IT person, then your identity is IT person. But if you're a person in IT, then your identity is person.
correct.
Mhm.
Yep.
So now we're going to start with the philosophical side of the conversation. So let me get a drink.
Did Dr.
and then-
DJ get his doctorate from Google? Is that where you got that?
It's honorary. Yeah.
I know a lot of people getting that Google doctorate, man. That's amazing stuff.
My Google foo is strong.
Yes.
Awesome.
That is the best phrase ever when Google, yeah, my Google foo, man. It's good or it's bad.
Right on. Well, I tell you what, guys, I am glad we did this. This has
Me
been a
too.
fun episode.
Yes. Yep.
But we've got to finish the conversation. We got to finish what we were talking about like villains.
Villains in Star Wars. Villains are bad guys. I don't think there's a lot of
Crime
villains.
is not context aware. That's it.
Yes, absolutely. But I always go back to Clerks and the thing of how many innocent people were on the Death Star that died because of a few bad people up here.
But the crazy thing, yeah, and it's crazy that they brought that up in The Mandalorian. Did you catch that? Spoiler alert. Sorry, everyone.
No, that doesn't spoil anything.
I'm trying not to say anything.
I heard the reference. Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, I was like,
Kevin Smith is happy.
yeah, sure.
Oh man. Now, real quick, have you watched The Expanse?
Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon Prime. It started off on Sci-Fi Network. The Expanse is a great show. It's in season 5 right now, the middle of it. So if you like sci-fi,
yeah, I might have to switch to that. I've been trying to plow through The Boys, and
that had ups and downs.
Yeah,
I love The Boy. But see, I'm like, okay, so this is the child in me. Teen Titans Go, the cartoon on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
To me, that is an absolute brilliantly hilarious show. I love that show because it pokes fun at everything, especially the superhero genre.
Mm-hmm.
The Boys does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the end of season 2, I would love to have like a watch party to see if you react the way I did at certain points.
All right.
I was watching it on my iPad, and at one point, it was so surprised. I like flipped it, and it went flying across the room. So,
yeah, it's just a bit over the top, but at the same time, it is kind of that whole can good guys be bad guys, and that whole anti-hero kind of thing going on. It's an interesting philosophy and struggle, but there's a part of me that's just like, it's like we're fighting back against decades, not decades, like hundreds of years of the hero story. And
but that's the idea
I'm
of
not sure
it.
If it works though. That's the problem.
It works for me. That's all I'm going to say. And that's, that's.
There's only so far you can go with it, is what I'm saying. Because
but you look at Game of Thrones, especially the first book, right? I remember the first time I read the book, well before the show ever came out, and getting to the end and lopped the head off, and I was like, they just took out the main. What's going? It blew my mind. I didn't like it. I will admit, when I first read the book, I was like, this is stupid. I'm not going to read this because, hey, the hero always wins, right? Yeah. So, I think, going against the grain in those instances is not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah. Just because we're not used to the superheroes being the bad guys, I don't think, is not a bad thing.
Yeah,
from a real world perspective, if you had power like that, I don't know how I'd be. Could just as well try to take advantage of what I have, and who knows? I don't know.
Ways to kind of make it so that they're not actually the bad guys. They're just people that are doing bad things. sort of thing. It's kind of weird. So like what Esther's talking about is like, it's still a bad thing.
See, I disagree.
Yeah, I think it depends on your own moral compass. But yeah, The Boys definitely hit through my compass in the red zone and just
What season are you on?
didn't compute. I think
DJ?
I'm on season 2 somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like,
Are you into 2?
3 episodes into season 2.
Okay.
But I will tell you, another show that I started watching just to counteract this in a weird kind of way is called The Good Place.
Yes,
That's
that
a
is
good
funny.
show.
That is extraordinary.
been
That was
entertaining.
hilarious.
Very entertaining and very kind of, it's hitting on some philosophy that is kind of entertaining for me as someone who studied a lot of this in college.
It's very good with philosophy. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it kind of hits on those same kind of questions in a kind of completely different way. Like, what if you're just basically a jerk who gets sent to heaven by accident?
Where are you in that? Just out of curiosity.
Well,
season 1, 2, 3.
I am midway through season 2 on that one as well.
Okay.
So, and I've been kind of wondering where they're going to go because they're kind of in a weird. No, sorry, I think I did finish season 2 now. I'm thinking about it. So it's like, it's kind of a weird.
Yeah, it got a little out there.
It's like, how are you going to recover from this? Yeah, it's like once you have that big reveal, where do you go from there? You know, it's always the challenge, right?
Yep.
But,
well, I think we can all go back and just start watching the IT Crowd, and life will be good.
It's true. It's true.
Series 2, episode 1. I do not laugh harder than when I watch that episode. The I'm disabled.
Oh,
I'm disabled.
Oh my god.
And the gay musical and the whole it was hilarious. Life is good.
It's true. It's good stuff.
And the guy that does Moss is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah.
I can't pronounce his last name. I know it's like Richard.
A, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But he's brilliant.
Too. Yeah.
He does a voice, and he does a voice on Apple and Onion, which is a cartoon series on Cartoon Network as well. Because he's got that distinctive voice. It was like I recognized it. It's like, wow. So
we're all like, what?
Yeah. Hey, Esther thinks she's a child. Oh,
what happened to Master of the Universe? Where did we lose Jeff in the conversation?
Yeah, no, Star Blazers. I don't know how if you guys did anime, but that was like late 70s, early 80s. From the Japanese show into it. That was like the first like real stuff I had started watching when I was young, and it was on TV, and that's classic. I love that thing. But
Thundercats.
Yeah, I think
yes.
Thundercats.
Yes. They are go, baby. That and the Dungeons and Dragons series. That got really good. It was too bad they weren't able to finish it like they wanted to.
I used to say that everything I learned about romance I learned from Robotech. The fact that I've got one of these on is nothing short of a miracle, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man. Well, at least it was better than like I learned from Akira or something like that.
Or He-Man.
Oh, we've gotten
Awesome beans. Well, I tell you what, folks. Thanks for being on.
We got off the rails completely.
Yeah, I was going to finish with, have you tried turning it off and on again?
I need to look at like the legality of like pulling in clips like that and doing things like that. I just haven't looked at it. I have no idea what we can and can't do with that. I should probably look at that because it'd be fun.
Oh God, that and it doesn't hit until the second season. Like the first series is okay,
Yeah,
but it starts, like I said, with a bang, and it just doesn't slow down.
no.
Like the German cuisine, that was beautiful. All right, I'm gonna stop.
The
I'm gonna
calendar.
stop.
Yeah.
Could go on forever.
Yeah, so now we know what show you're gonna binge watch tomorrow.
Yeah, it will be. It will be.
Maybe.
Yes, it's brilliant. I'm sorry,
One of those
it's funny.
where-
The Brits have a great humor.
Yeah. It took my wife a while to get into it at first, but then she's like, I'll find her watching it on her own now. I was like, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Now the UK Office, oh, that is a beautiful thing. Not a lot of people can take that in America, but it's a beautiful thing because it makes you feel so uncomfortable, especially the second. Oh,
That's like next level.
yeah.
It's no
Yep.
squirmified. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to shut up now. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Jen,
Thank you for
coming on
having
with
me.
us.
It's always
love
great.
having
Happy
you
New
guys.
Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. And DJ, Happy New Year to you.
Yeah. Appreciate it. And yeah, we'll be back next week as usual. We'll see what the new year holds, but we do appreciate you all being with us. And yeah, to Esther and Jen and Jeff and Tobias and all the people that have been on with us this year, Melissa, George, Ron, Douglas, Carl, Andy, Benjamin, Teresa, Nick, Adam, Doug, Jarian, Richard, Alto, Jen, Guy, Warren, Shane, Nick, Joe, Kyle, Jeremy, Mark, Brian. Thank you all so much for being with us this year. It's meant a lot to both of us. We're really blessed to have the opportunity to do this, and we hope to see you all again on another THRIVEcast very, very soon. Enjoy your New Year's, be safe, and we will see you in 2021.
Woo!
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
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 Oh, if I can. That was a smooth transition to the exit, right? Cheers, everybody. Bye.
So
We're
this
still
is
Thank you for joining us for another edition of THRIVEcast. We truly hope you've enjoyed the experience and have learned a lot from it. Now, what we'd want from you next is to join us at thrive-it.com, where you can get subscribed to our multiple channels, get subscribed to our newsletter, and do more to get yourself to where you want to be in your career and your life in information technology. If there's anything we can do to help you, please give us an email at support@thrive-it.com.